Ahead of me has at least played 19 tournaments. So you can only imagine if I had played 19 tournaments where I would be right now.
Oh my God, we wouldn't have, and it's just awesome.
What did he teach you about winning?
My dad taught me winning is not important if it's done on the tennis court. He said you're a winner if you're a winner in life and if you have a good education.
Look, my dad has brought Vince 2 players into the top 10, one in the top 5, and me, I'm definitely going to be even higher, and he's going to be my coach. And he has somewhat a background. He used to play when he was younger. He knows the game. He understands that you don't have to be a professional or a #1 player to be able to coach someone else. I don't think that, that's always true.
You're gonna not feel good about yourself. But if you're being told every day, you're gonna be great, you are great, you're gonna be #1, you're gonna be the best, like some part of you is gonna believe that, and then that positivity kind of works itself into your life.
Mentally as well.
Yeah, the other thing though was that when so many people doubted and thought he was wrong, he kept to his vision, and he was right.
Kind of like I did in Australia. That's where I get it from. There's never been a black tennis player to win several Althea Gibson, yeah. She did amazing, and Arthur Ashe won a couple Grand Slams as well. They were just amazing people, but on a consistent basis and to change the game of tennis, and I'm not trying to pontificate or anything, yeah. This is just the facts. A lot of people played harder and ran faster. I can see the difference myself. I mean, I'm playing girls that I played when I first came out on tour, and then now they just play totally different because you had to adapt and you had to change. And, my dad...
I've played tennis since I was 4, and so have male tennis players, and so I don't feel like I deserve less. 12. And I became really in the public eye at 17 when I won my first Grand Slam. And from that day of me winning my first Grand Slam until today, I made a stance and I said, I'm not gonna read any articles about me. I'm not gonna read any press. When I watch film or when I watch tennis, I always have it on mute.
Really?
Yes, because growing up before mental health was a thing, it was only negative stuff about, me. I look like a man, I'm too strong, I can't be that good, I must be taking drugs or whatever it is. And so, or she's the best in the world, she does this. It can either inflate you or it can really bring you down.
Because I just felt like I could have won. And at the same time, I just felt like, when was I gonna win? And everyone was like, oh, she hasn't won a tournament and she hasn't done this. And, you had some people, one person who claimed that I was offending Maria Sharapova and Amelie Mauresmo, the #1 and #2 players in the world.
And there's some days as an athlete, I think every athlete, you're never playing at 100%. But it's like, tennis is one-on-one. And you have to and you walk to the net and you are looking your opponent in your eye and you're like, okay, what's wrong with her today? Or what's going on? There's something, is she injured? What's this? So you really have to just have this space of like. But I did one year, I remember playing and I was like, oh, I want to do this and that. And when it didn't happen, it was so much negativity around it that I learned to never share my goals. And so every time people would say, what's your goals? And I'm like, well, I don't share them. That way, if you reach them, then great. And if you don't reach them, then,
Injury, did you believe going in that you could win?
I always believe I can win. I never go into a tournament saying I'm gonna lose. I just think, first of all, that's bad thinking, and I'm just thinking, oh, I never say, oh, I hope to do this or I hope to, beat her. I always go into a tournament thinking I have a chance to win, or else I'm not gonna play.
How will you regroup here and continue to chase that record?
I'm not necessarily chasing a record, I'm just trying to win Grand Slams, and it's definitely frustrating, but for the most part, I just am still here and I'm still doing what I can do.
I was very hungry for it. I actually described it as famished, I felt as if I needed it, and not only that, I wanted it. And those combined, just was a real killer.
I never wanted to lose, But unfortunately, I think when you do lose, you learn some of your biggest lessons. And every loss that I had, I kind of needed that to actually become Serena Williams, or I would have never been this person.
I can understand what you saw because it may have looked, just because I look at my box, it may have looked like I was getting coaching, but I'm telling you that's not what I do. And I said I'd rather lose than have to cheat to win. I don't need to cheat to win. I've won enough, and that's never been something I've ever done.
You know how hard you have to cough to do that for a C-section? It was nuts. I kept telling the nurse that she may have thought, rightfully so, she may have thought that I was nuts, because I'm like, okay, I need you to sign me up, get me in a CAT scan, and I need the dye, and I need you to look at my lungs bilaterally, and like talking like that. And then she just was like, totally dismissed me or whatever, and eventually time goes by, and then I finally.
And what will you say to her as to how maybe you could have handled it differently, or
well, I'll tell her, first of all, that, if she sees it, that, I stood up for what I believed in, I stood up for what was right, and, sometimes things in life doesn't happen the way we want them, but to always stay gracious and to stay humble. And having a kid, I'm never going to be able to look my kid in the eye and say, Mom cheated or Mom did something like that. That is totally irresponsible. And even before that, I've always had that attitude. I've always been the kind of player that if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me. And I'm going to congratulate you. But all of it, honestly, truly is super frustrating. I'm like, so close, so close, so close, and yet so far away. But, I don't know what to say. I guess I gotta keep going if I want to be a professional tennis player. The worst thing is, I can't really think of anything bad about it. I feel that I'm really blessed to be able to have an opportunity to be in tennis and do so well at it, and I just can't think of anything negative about it.
They didn't think they could get pregnant and play until they saw me do it. And there had been other people that did it, but for whatever reason, when I was able to do it, they all felt empowered. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect that story to come from that. So that felt good, It felt really good to just continue to inspire people. Like, you can be mom and you can be an athlete. Try to take away your joy, and it might be subconscious. They might tell you something that you just don't need to hear on that day. It's okay to walk away. And it's okay to be strong and say, I don't need that energy. I don't need to hear this. But what I do need to do is just keep myself up, keep myself positive, and just keep moving forward.